let me bring on Ana Braga. Last time we had her partner, who was Ana Clara, but now we have Ana Braga, which I'm so excited to chat with you. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I hope I'll be able to fill in for Ana Clara's shoes because, I have some work cut out for me.
I know. Well, no, don't worry. So guys, Ana Braga is super awesome. She's the business development manager at the law firm called Almeida Associados, which is in Lisbon. Okay. Mm-hmm. They also have offices internationally. But yeah, they're a really awesome law firm. And I've obviously decided to partner with them just because my clients have gone through them and they've had really good experiences. So if you guys at all are needing help with your Portuguese, anything, your visa situation, they're really the people that I want you to go to because my clients have had good experience. But so let me give you guys a little update on who Ana Braga is. So we're going to have, this one is very specific to law chat. So we're basically going to talk about Portuguese visas, her experience in working in this field for so long and some of the situations she's seen. So basically she's in charge of the management of the firm's immigration relations and partnerships. And they have offices in Lisbon, São Paulo, Tomar, Portugal, and they also deal with other types of law. And yeah, so you went to New University in Lisbon, correct? Is that the university?
Correct. Nice. Yeah, actually, Rachel's, I heard a bit about Rachel's talk, and I'm actually a translator. So besides all of that, business development manager, I'm also a translator. So I could relate with the questions that people were making on the chat because, how do you start your first client, all of that. So yeah, so I graduated from the New University of Lisbon in translation, actually. So nothing related to business.
Wow.
Yeah, and I have a postgrad in political science, also completely random. Wow. And I worked a bit at other companies, mainly doing translations. And I just, when I got to ADA, so Almeida and Associados, it was, kind of to do the translations, because obviously when we're dealing with immigration, there's a lot of translation going on. So, and then it kind of turned into partnership management and now, full on business development management at the law firm.
I love it. And so you've kind of seen all sides of the business, it seems like, from the translation side, you're actually seeing everybody's documents and like working with the clients. So that's why I love your team. And you guys speak English very well. That's also another thing that I find very comfortable because I've had experience with other lawyers in the past, just from living in Europe. And sometimes that's a really difficult part. So guys, when you're choosing to work with a lawyer, make sure like communication is easy and obviously it's a trusted source. And then before we continue, and we're going to jump into a lot of interesting things, I just want to let you guys know they are giving away. So Ana Braga and her team are giving away a 20-minute free call, which doesn't really happen with like law offices. You can ask whatever questions you need. Make sure to get that free call. So I'm going to put it in the chat right now. It's not going to be available for a long time. So the first people that book are going to get that 20-minute free call with Ana Clara, who's the lawyer. So anyway,
she's the head of the department, actually. So she's the head of the department, of the immigration department.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so tell me, like, what is the life that you guys create for your clients and who typically comes to you?
Well, we have all types of clients from every imaginable country. And the majority of them, clients come for work, to study, to just, digital nomads. So I just want to spend some time in Portugal. What can I do? we have investors also coming in for the golden visa, which is almost ending. But the common factor is Portugal. So they're in love with Portugal. They want to move and they need our help, or maybe they don't need, but they feel more comfortable having a lawyer on their side to complete their application, their visa application, going to the immigration office. So I like to say that we do all the work from A to Z. Obviously, we have some constraints because we are a law firm, so there's a lot of things that we cannot do, but we are a one-stop shop in a way, because we can't go and search for a property or a rental for a client, but we will recommend you someone. So I think in that way, we try to make our clients' life easier.
I love it. And just quick question. So what are the struggles that you see clients have when they try to do it on their own? And the only reason why I'm bringing this up, you guys, is because I have gone through various visa processes in Spain. And if you don't understand the documents you're reading, I speak Spanish, so there's a different story there. You don't want to mess up on an application, because that will either be them denying it or it delaying it for 6 months until you maybe give them the updated documents, if they give you the chance. So what are like the struggles you see clients have that do it on their own, and why is it advised to maybe have some help?
I think it's mainly with the documentation part, as you mentioned. But, you know, Shona, I'm not going to sit here and say that, let's say, for example, a D7 visa, which is the most common visa that we work with. I'm not going to say that it's not a straightforward process. It's pretty straightforward. But the thing is, the consulate or the embassy has discretionary power to decide on whether they are accepting your visa application or not. So what we see a lot happening is that even the clients that fulfill all the requirements and they go super confident, well, yeah, I have everything, I have all the documents, I fulfill all the requirements, and something happens and the visa is rejected. So I think that's where we come in and our experience comes in to, you know, kind of offer that help and confidence to the client that things will be smooth. So I think it's more like in that regard, so documentation, fulfilling the requirements. In Portugal, also when they come to the immigration office, so sometimes they don't speak, the ladies at the immigration office, they don't speak they don't have a great level of English, so communication can be a bit harder. So having a lawyer there, especially there, so I think that's where it's most important. Having a lawyer at the immigration office is essential.
Yeah,
because we've seen clients that we work with. I mean, they have the visa, everything's good, and then they come to the immigration office, and then there's something that even for us, there's really no explanation. But you know, things happen. So yeah,
it's so true. And like, can you tell me what the typical issues could be, just so we're aware, so we make sure to spend more time maybe on that when we are doing our visa process? What are the typical problems that will be flagged, for example, by the consulate from your guys' experience with these visas?
Yeah, I'll give you 2 specific examples. One from our clients, so things that really happened. We had a visa rejection. Actually, this client came to us. He did everything by himself. So he did the visa submission by himself, and the visa got rejected. And then we understood why. Basically, he got a rental contract for a bedroom, where I think he was paying like €100 for a bedroom in Braga, actually the city, which is my name. Which is, yeah, it's a city in Portugal, which is if you understand Portugal's reality, that doesn't exist anymore. You don't rent bedrooms for €100 anymore. So the people from the embassy, they saw that and they were like, no, this is sketchy. That's not cutting it. So as soon as, and it was a client from Ana Clara, so as soon as she saw that, she's like, yeah, this is why they rejected you. So he got another lease and his visa was approved. Okay. So that's one example. And the other one is, for example, for the D7, there's one of the requirements is to deposit 12 times the minimum Portuguese wage in a Portuguese bank account. And there are some embassies that don't accept that. They will ask for more. And you tell me, but why? They reject the visas and they just say, we don't think 12 times the minimum wage is enough to subside in Portugal. But that's the requirement, but they don't accept it. So it's so important to have a lawyer in those situations, because I'd assume that most people would be stuck and they wouldn't know what to do. And we know that those things happen. So we're prepared to deal with that.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And then can you talk a little bit about the visas? What are the options for a lot of people here? Please put me in the chat if you are planning to move to Portugal, if that's really on your radar. And if you can also tell us what's the time frame? When do you want to make the move?
Yeah, that's important.
What do you recommend? When should people start on this first, before you talk about the visas? When should they start the process?
I'd say at least 6 months before. So if you're planning to move, in the beginning of the year, next year, you should have already started. Okay, well, so
Tracy says next month. Is that possible?
Have you started, Tracy? I'm not sure how that's going to happen. Maybe she already started. I don't know. So definitely 6 months. Some consulates take more time to approve, some take less, but I'd say the 6 months is pretty standard.
Okay, good. Okay, because some people do want to, they've projected it out to 2025. You can't really start the process legally now, because if you started the process now, that means around December, it would be approved and they would move, correct?
Yeah, and then when your visa is approved, the visa is valid for 4 months, and within those 4 months, you will have an appointment with CEF, with the immigration office, where you'll get your residence card. So if you're not planning to come within those 4 months, it's just wasted time, wasted money. There's no point in starting so early if you want to move in 2025.
And the other thing, Ana, which maybe we could talk about this, is the rental agreement. This is one of the hardest parts, you guys, about getting the D7 or the digital nomad visa, is the rental agreement. You need to show that they want to see that you have a lease. Well, a lot of these companies now want you to pay 12 months for the whole year in advance. So if you're having to do that and apply for your, do the work, get a lawyer, get the visa approved, you're paying for time, those 6 months where you're actually not even living there. Yeah, but you're doing that to secure your place. Now, all situations aren't like that, but now it's becoming more common that you're paying upfront to have that lease. And do you have any insights on that as well? As that is one of the hardest parts, right?
It is. And I think it's the part that most of the clients complain about. They're like, but I'm not moving anytime soon, so why do I need to have it? And also what's even weirder, some banks are asking for this as well. So it's a whole different thing. But like when you're applying, so you'll need a Portuguese bank account to apply for the D7 visa. And even sometimes for the bank account, they are already asking for this proof of accommodation. So you think, oh, maybe I'll have an account in a month, so I have another month, and when you go and you see, you already need the rental contract for the bank account. This happens with some banks. Others don't do this, of course, but it's also something to consider, that it may be a requirement for some banks when you're applying to open an account there.
Wow.
But yeah, that's an inconvenience, I understand, but it's really, it's one of the main requirements. It's one of the things that they will have a thorough look at, is the proof of accommodation.
Now, Robin asks in the chat, do you need the year lease for the long-term digital nomad visa? He thought it was only for the D7.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
So you need it for both the digital nomad visa or the D7. You need the year lease.
Yes, I'm pretty sure you'll need it. The digital nomad makes me a little uneasy, a little uncomfortable, just for one reason. It seems like I'm going to say it's too soon, but it's not, because it was approved in October. But there's a lot of things about the digital nomad that we don't feel were clarified, like really clarified. It took us some time to understand, like, so for how long will the visa be valid? For how long will the residence permit be valid? Because it's a digital nomad. So we understand that a digital nomad will not stay in Portugal long term. So, just for a shorter time, but it's the exact same process as the D7. Yeah, so it's necessary.
Awesome. And for those of you who don't know what the D7 or the digital nomad visa is, or the golden visa, those are the options right now for Portugal. Can you elaborate on what those are a little bit, Ana, so everybody's kind of clear on it?
Sure. So the residence visas in Portugal are called D-type visas. So it starts with the D1, which is subordinate work. So for anyone who wants to come and work in Portugal. The D2 is for entrepreneurs or freelancers, okay? So anyone who wants to incorporate a company here in Portugal. Then the D3 is for highly qualified workers, D4 student, D6 is family reunification, D7, one of the most important, is passive income. So anyone who's retired, so receives a pension, anyone who receives income from rents, from financial applications, what was it called? Receive some funds from their own company. I don't remember the word.
Dividends.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, dividends from companies. So that's the D7. So any type of passive income. Then D8. It's the digital nomad visa. It's not really called D8, but everyone calls it D8. So the digital nomad is for digital nomads who earn. So this is the main requirement for the digital nomad visa. You need to have a work contract that proves that you can work remotely, and you need to earn at least 3,040. It's such a weird number. 3,040 euros per month. Okay, and you need to prove that you have earned that amount for the last 3 months. And then the golden visa, which is for investors. So people that want to have a Portuguese passport, that don't really want to live in Portugal. They have a limited stay requirement in Portugal. And it's basically done by investing in real estate or investment funds. There's a lot of categories, but those are the two main ones.
Interesting. Thank you so much for sharing about that. What about student visa? Are student visas a route to residency and then citizenship?
They all are.
Wow.
So yeah, they all are. So you receive. So if everything goes well, you'll get your residence permit, your residence card, which is valid for 2 years. it's renewable for 3 years. And after 5 years of legally residing in Portugal, you're eligible for Portuguese citizenship.
Wow.
If
And
you're
that's
eligible, yeah,
student.
so you're eligible. It doesn't mean that you automatically get citizenship, okay? You are eligible to apply for citizenship. And then there's also requirements that you need to fulfill.
Okay. Is that after, do you know if it's after a certain amount of years? Because I think in Spain, this at least is what I was doing, is I had to study for 3 years, and then they allowed me to switch it to permanent residency. And
Yeah,
then I was able to get a job. Is that similar to Portugal?
So by the end of the 5 years, so you have the 2-year residence permit, the 3-year renewal, and by the end of the 5th year, so after those 3 years, you can either apply for the permanent residency or both. You can apply for both, but you can apply for permanent residency or for citizenship.
Wow. But do you have to be studying? And Carrie is asking this question in the chat. Feel free to ask your guys questions, you guys. We have 5 more minutes or so. So we want to get to all of your guys' questions. Carrie,
that's a great question. Oh, I don't think I know how to answer that question. I'm sorry.
yeah, that's okay though. You're doing, wow, I think you know a lot more than you think in terms of, because you are the business development manager.
Yeah, sorry.
Like,
I think, look, you can convert the student visa to other types of visas, okay? So if you start working, which I'd say most people will end up doing, then your residency is based on work. So I think it's odd that you have to study for 5 years, but I don't want to. Yeah, you can sign up for the call and Clara will answer for sure that question.
That would be an Ana Clara question. So Ana Clara is the head of the legal department for immigration. We've sent you guys the link for the free 20-minute call. Go ahead and book that, and then she'll be able to maybe help you with that. And then yeah, what else was I going to ask? The golden visa, isn't that going away? What's the update on that?
That's a great question, Shauna.
I heard from Ana Clara that it's gone. On the last summit, that's what she was saying.
We thought it was gone. It was supposed to be gone, but the last update, they are keeping the investment funds route. Yeah. So they're keeping the investment, so the 500,000 euro investment in investment funds. And I think they're also keeping the cultural. No one does that, to be honest. It's so confusing. It's so bureaucratic. So no one really does that. But they're also keeping. So what they're doing is they're keeping everything that doesn't really interfere with housing, with real estate directly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though I'd say the investment funds, 4 out of 5 of the funds are invested in real estate. So, in a way, they're still investing in real estate in Portugal, just not directly theirs.
And that's the thing that's important to stay updated on, like, what is the government coming out with? Because I actually talked to to João from Remax, and he was telling me the government, from Remax in Portugal, the government, like, the law is constantly changing. And so that's why it's interesting, because they had come out with something probably around the time of the last summit that was saying it's going away. Now they're keeping it. So it is important, you guys, to stay updated with these countries are constantly changing what they're allowing, what they're not allowing. Spain, for the longest time, didn't have the digital nomad visa. Now they're copying Portugal. I mean, there's so many things, and you just need to know what's going on. And that's why it's important to book the call with them, ask those questions. Selena asks, is dual citizenship possible with the United States?
Yeah, we have the majority of our clients are from the US. So yeah, perfectly possible. There are some citizenships that don't allow dual citizenship, but I mean, to be honest, I don't think any lawyer knows that by heart. So it's something that we would have to obviously have a look into. But we have so many clients from the US who have dual citizenship. So yeah, no problem with that.
Amazing. Now, somebody did ask, Rebecca, hey, Rebecca, how are you? If somebody is an EU citizen already, is there any reason you can think of that they might still need a lawyer when it comes to getting an apartment or some kind of residency approval once settling in?
You know, it's of course you do. No, I'm kidding. It's it's again, it's a straightforward process. There are some things that you'll have to do. So in this case, for a EU citizen, it's called the CRUE. So it's the certificate of registration in the European Union. So you just have to go to your municipality and get a paper basically saying that you're going to live in that specific address. So obviously you need to have a lease in Portugal, okay? You need to have a bank account, you need to have a NIF, and some clients prefer to have assistance with that. But is it really necessary? You know, it's easy.
Yeah, I would say that you're in a good situation, Rebecca. We're all trying to be like you. We're with our EU passports. So that's it. That's actually, you're really blessed to have that, because that solves a lot of problems. So yeah, and then what would you like to, what's like the one, oh, we have one other question, Ana. In terms of pension from retirees, is that the D7? That's what he's asking.
Yes, exactly. So the requirement is you need to prove that you earn, crying in UK, sorry, I just read that. You need to prove that you have 760 euro monthly. So only 760 euro monthly. It's the Portuguese minimum wage. So if you can prove that you receive that as your pension, you're eligible for the D7.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Anybody have any other last minute questions? And Ana, I'm going to leave you with the last question of the day before I bring on Maddie. She's super awesome. She's a content creator. She travels all around the world solo. So definitely she's going to have some answers for you guys about going and embarking on this type of journey by yourself. But the last question I want to ask you, Ana, is what is the secret? What is like that one secret you want to leave with people that are planning their move abroad in the next 12 months?
The secret is come to Portugal. It's no longer a secret though. Everyone's coming. So I don't know. I think that just if you're thinking of moving abroad, Portugal is, I think it's great in so many ways. The food, the weather, the people. I mean, it's Europe, you're close to everywhere. It's, you know, cheap, kind of cheap, you know, it used to be cheaper, but it's still a bit cheap. And yeah, I think that's it.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Ana. And guys, again, her free gift is the 20-minute free call with Ana Clara, who is the head of the legal department there. Thank you so much for taking time out of your evening. I know it's, you know, probably dinner time for you right now, but we really appreciate it. So everybody, please say thank you in the chat, and we hope to see you soon, Ana.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank you.